Welcome to Life History YouTube channel. Here we discuss the biography of famous personality around the world. Today's topic is Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was born on 5th September 1888. He was born on a Telugu-speaking Niyogi Brahmin family in Tirutani, Madras Presidency, British India, which is present-day Tamil Nadu in India. His father's name was Sarvepalli Veerasamy, who was a subordinate revenue officer in the service of a local jamindar, and his mother's name was Sarvepalli Sita. His family is from Sarvepalli village in Andhra Pradesh, Nellore district. He grew up in the town of Tirutani and Tirupati. Throughout his academic career, Radhakrishnan earned various scholarships. His primary education was at Tirutani's KV High School in 1896. He transferred to Tirupati's Harmsburg Evangelical Lutheran Mission School and Walajapet's Government High School. For his second school education, he enrolled at Vellore's Buddhist College. At the age of 17, he enrolled in Madras Christian College after finishing his first of arts class. He earned his bachelor's degree and his master's degree from the same institution in 1906. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was married to Sivakamu at the age of 16. Sivakamu was Radhakrishnan's distant cousins. Radhakrishnan and Sivakamu were happily married for over 51 years. Radhakrishnan had 6 children and 5 daughters and 1 son. Sarvepalli Gopal, his son, was a well-known Indian historian. He authored his father's biography, Radhakrishnan, a biography, and also Jawaharlal Nehru, a biography. The Radhakrishnan was appointed to the Madras Presidency College Department of Philosophy in April 1909. He was appointed Professor of Philosophy at the University of Mysore in 1918, where he taught the Maharaja's College in Mysore. He wrote several articles for prestigious journals such as the Quest Journal of Philosophy and the International Journal of Ethics while at the Maharaja's College. He also finished his first novel, Rabindranath Tagore's Philosophy, he claimed was the genuine expression of the Indian spirit. In 1920, he published his second book, The Reign of Religion in Contemporary Philosophy. In 1921, he was appointed as a professor of philosophy at the University of Calcutta, where he held the King George V Chair of Mental and Moral Science. In June 1926, he represented the University of Calcutta at the British Empire Universities Congress, and in September 1926, he attended the International Congress of Philosophy at Harvard University. Another significant academic event during this period was his acceptance of the Harvard Lecture on the Idea of Life, which he gave at Manchester College, Oxford in 1929, and was later published an idealist view of life in book form. In June 1931, George V knighted him for his services to education, and the Governor General of India, the Earl of Wellington, formally invested him with his honor in April 1932. After India's independence, he stopped using the title and instead used his academic title of doctor. From 1931 to 1936, he served as Vice Chancellor of Andhra University. Radhakrishnan was elected a Fellow of All Souls College and appointed a Spalding Professor of Eastern Religions and Ethics at the University of Oxford in 1936. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1937. Nomination for the award continued to pour in well into the 1960s. In 1939, he was invited to succeed Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya as the Vice Chancellor of Banaras Hindu University. He was its first chancellor from January 1948 to January 1949. After a promising academic career, Radhakrishnan began his political career later in life. His political career came after his forensic inquiry. In 1931, he was appointed to the League of Nations Committee for Intellectual Cooperation, where he became known as Hindu expert on Indian ideas and a convincing translator of the role of Eastern institutions in contemporary society in Western eyes. Radhakrishnan's involvement in Indian politics as well as foreign affairs grew in the years following India's independence. From 1946 to 1951, Radhakrishnan was a member of the newly formed UNESCO, sitting on its executive board and heading the Indian delegation. Radhakrishnan was also a member of the Indian Constituent Assembly for the 2 years following India's independence. The demands of the University Commission and his continuing responsibility as a Spalding professor at Oxford had to be balanced against Radhakrishnan committees to UNESCO and the Constituent Assembly. When the University's Commission report was completed in 1949, Radhakrishnan was appointed India's ambassador to Moscow by then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, a position he held until 1952. With his re-election to the Rajya Sabha, Radhakrishnan was able to bring his philosophical and political beliefs into motion. In 1952, Radhakrishnan was elected as India's first Vice President, and in 1962, he was elected as the country's second President. During his time in office, Radhakrishnan saw a growing need for world peace and universal fellowship. The importance of this need was driven from to Radhakrishnan by what he saw as global crisis unfolding. The Korean War was already in full swing when he assumed the role of Vice President. Radhakrishnan's presidency was dominated by political conflicts with China in the early 1960s, following by hostile between India and Pakistan. Furthermore, the Cold War split East and West, leaving each on the defensive and wary to the others. Radhakrishnan questioned what he saw as self-proclaimed international organizations like the League of Nations, divisive ability and dominant character. Instead, he advocated for the promotion of an innovative internationalism focused on integral experiences, metaphysical foundations. Only then will mutual understanding and tolerance be encouraged between cultures and nations. Radhakrishnan attempted to bring Eastern and Western ideas together, defending Hinduism against uninformed Western criticism, while also integrating Western philosophical and religious ideas. Radhakrishnan was one of the new most Vedanta's influential spokesmen. His metaphysics was based on Adiveda Vedanta, but he reinterpreted it for the modern audience. He recognized the truth and the diversity of human nature, which he saw as grounded in and endorsed by the absolute or Brahmin. Theology and creeds are intellectual formulations as well as symbols of religious experience of religious institution for Radhakrishnan. Radhakrishnan graded the different religions according to their interpretation of religious experiments, with Adiveda Vedanta holding the highest spot. In comparison to the intellectuality mediated conception of other religions, Radhakrishnan saw Adiveda Vedanta as the best representative of Hinduism, as it was based on institution. Vedanta, according to Radhakrishnan, is the highest type of religious because it provides the most direct initiative, experience, and inner realization. Despite his familiarity with Western culture and philosophy, Radhakrishnan was critical of it. He said that despite their calms, Radhakrishnan died on 26 November 1956. He never remarried and he was a widower till his death. In 1967, Radhakrishnan was awarded Bharat Ratna, the highest civilian award of India, in 1954. He was knighted by George V for his service to education in the 1931. He was honored with the recipient of Pour le Merit for Science and Arts in 1954 by Germany. He was honored with the recipient of SAS First Class of the Order of the Aztec Eagle in the year of 1954 by Mexico. He was honored with the membership of the Order of Merit in 1963 by the United Kingdom. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize for the record of 27 times, 16 times in literature and 11 times for Nobel Peace Prize. In 1938, he was elected as a Fellow of the British Academy. He was awarded the Peace Prize of the German book trade in 1961. In the 1968, he was the first person to be awarded the Sahitya Academy Fellowship, which is the highest honor conferred by the Sahitya Academy on a writer. Since 1962, India has celebrated Teachers' Day on 5 September, Radhakrishnan birthday, in recognition of the Radhakrishnan belief that teachers should be the best minds in the world. In 1975, he received the Templeton Prize for promoting non-violence and the conveying a common truth of the God that included compassion and knowledge for all people. The first book authored by Radhakrishnan was a philosophy of the Rabindranath Tagore in the year 1918. His second book was published in 1923 named Indian Philosophy. The Hindu View of Life, published in 1926, and Idealist View of Life was published in 1929. Kalki, or The Future of Civilization, was published in 1929. He published his sixth book named Eastern Religious and Western Thought in the year 1939. Religion and Society were published as the seventh book in 1947. In 1948, the Bhagavad Gita, with an introductory essay, Sanskrit text, English translation and notes were published. In 1950, his book The Dharmapada was published. His 10th book, The Principal Upanishad, was published in 1953. Recovery of Faith was published in 1956. The 12th book of his source book in Indian philosophy, published in 1957. The Brahma Sutra, The Philosophy of Spiritual Life, was published in 1959. His last book, named Religion, Science and Culture, was published in 1968.